Hello, hello, hola, hola, you beautiful, lovely humans. Welcome back to Muse, the podcast where we chat all things personal growth and how it is an integral part of intentional creative living. I'm your host, Damaris, a multi-passionate artist and creative, figuring out how to create an impact with my work, just like you. You know what I didn't realize? That this month actually has 5 Mondays. The way I had originally planned out my episodes and kind of the themes I was going to touch on, I've had to shift midweek. And coming to this realization then made me have to redirect, pivot a little bit, and reassess my intentions of like how I'm presenting these next few topics. Yeah, it's kind of interesting when you've planned, I guess, the content for a whole month and, you miscalculated. Things happen. Little thing fell through the cracks and now I'm having to reassess. But then at the same time, it's also aligning with my timeline and giving me a little bit more time to work on the things that I'm working on. So all in all, and saying all that, sometimes these little shifts and unexpected changes, although they may be a little bit annoying and kind of something you're not expecting to have to think about, I think is a way that we can also be a little bit more go with the flow, letting go a little bit of that control and aspect of having things perfect from the beginning and them working out exactly the way that we want. And as creatives, we can either be super perfectionists in the way that we want our work to show up and how we plan and organize ourselves. And then there's the other aspect where we totally let go and it's just like a flow thing and there is no specific plan. So I think having both and being flexible to both is a good way to be present with our work. And it's kind of a good little reminder. And this was a good little reminder for me to not take things so seriously. And sometimes, these shifts happen and we just have to go with the flow. But today I'm chatting about something that honestly brings me so much joy. I'm so excited about this episode and specifically the creative work and intention that I'm setting in motion with what I'm talking to you about today. Over the last few months, as I've been creating these episodes and learning about myself along the way and the things that I've been sharing that also have been changing for me as I'm creating these episodes, I've actually been working on a few side projects, and originally I thought about creating a creative quiz. Now, I am someone that loves quizzes and tests in finding out more about myself and my personality and the way that I think and being able to have different perspectives on myself. And also I love when other people are into it as well because I get to learn a little bit more about them and aspects of them that maybe I won't always see because it's internal things that they process or aspects that you just like don't always see of other people. And I just think quizzes are just a fun way and a fun and maybe quick way that you can kind of get a little bit of insight on yourself. So the first quiz that I did last month, that I created last month, it was quick. It was kind of like a teaser into your creative voice. And I enjoyed making it. I thought it was a cool process. And it started to open up the questions and challenges that we have as a creative. And I think while I was creating it, I was also thinking about, what do I actually want to be sharing with the world? I want to be creating impact and help to support other creatives and help to create and build community based around creativity. So when I started building this other quiz, I was trying to bring a few of these ideas together, but hadn't really solidified, I guess, the exact direction that I wanted to go. I knew I wanted it to be about creativity and kind of your creative voice. And through that kind of initial idea, I started building a bit more of a roadmap or pathway to getting to a place where other creatives like me could seek out a direction, maybe, into getting back to their creativity when they get lost, or find resistance along the way. So the kind of the things that I've been talking about on the podcast, which is figuring out your identity, your creative voice, and about building something that I wish had existed when I was trying to figure out, like before starting the podcast. I would say even before I started having my pottery business, as artists and creatives, when you're in a place of like limbo and just trying to figure out directionally where you're going, that's kind of the pathway that I'm trying to build into. Because figuring out who you are and what type of artist you are, what type of creative you are, is difficult when you don't really have a direction to start off with, or don't really have an idea. So as I kept developing this concept, and after putting my first quiz together, I realized, firstly, that my own identity and the way I related to the quiz and to creativity and calling myself an artist and a multi-passionate creative has been shifting, and that is giving me a different perspective in how I'm approaching my creativity altogether. And then also the other aspect of me starting to show up more authentically, not just on the podcast, but how doing this podcast and doing these episodes, talking about becoming more authentic in my work, in how I show up, has also impacted, obviously, other areas of my life, because now this is a lifestyle change that has shifted. So the original quiz didn't really, now at this point, start to align with the person that I was becoming. It was kind of a fun thing and just like a maybe side expression that I wanted to try, a creative thing that I wanted to try. But now that I was getting all these ideas and I'm noticing these shifts, and also with the intentionality of the type of work that I want to put out, I want it to be impactful. I want it to be supportive. I want it to be able to build community and, conversations around these topics, that I have been thinking, yeah, I think I want to recreate this quiz. And I actually saw another creative build a quiz that I kind of took some ideas from. His was about reading and kind of finding books that you like, or like kind of figuring out your style of reading. But the concept of what he did, I thought was so interesting. And I thought that I could really apply that to the topic of creativity and how that's impacting me. And I think that would help to solidify and impact others in a positive way for you to, figure out a little bit more of identity of what type of creative you are. This brings me to what I built is a what type of creative are you quiz that is also color coded to your type. And the quiz is meant to reflect the type of creative that you are. So this is not a personality thing. This is not telling you who you are. What you're going to come out with is understanding what your creative voice sounds or feels like, which then can help you to understand and be able to use that to then express yourself fully and authentically in the work that you do and put out. Whether you're sharing that with the world or it's just for yourself, I think being able to know this about yourself can really help to step in to more of what you want to be showing and expressing. So once you know your voice, you'll also come to know what resistance comes up when you're trying to explore this creativity through your voice. And this can look different for everyone. So this is not even talking about how you use your voice or your vocal cords specifically to express yourself. It's just more your voice of expression of creativity. Let's be clear, this is a tool, not a box. We're not trying to put you in a box. We're not trying to give you limitations. You can be more than one type or color. But I think we all tend to lean to a main one of these, mostly in how we show up in our work. So I'm not trying to create limits here. I'm just trying to create direction. So let me break down the 5 colors and types. Yellow is the expressive voice. You're dynamic, multi-passionate, playful, idea-rich. Blue is the reflective voice. You're emotional, atmospheric, connective. Red is the bold voice. You're direct, intense, truth-forward. Gray is the precise voice. You're strategic, thoughtful, and intentional. And the intuitive voice is purple. And you're poetic, instinctive, and layered. So that just gives you a little sneak peek at the different types. But this quiz is going to kind of dial that in a little bit further to really assess how you show up creatively. So why am I building all this stuff? Like, what's the point of creating this quiz and kind of having these side little projects that are meant to be like a pathway? What's the point of that? Ideally, the quiz and then the next tools that I'm creating and building and putting together is a way to build and create more clarity. I talk about this in different episodes as well, but creating clarity in yourself, in your decision making, in your work, I think is so important to be able to move forward in making decisions and expressing yourself authentically through your work, through creativity in general. I also want there to be a way for you to understand the way that you create and how you express yourself. I want you to enjoy coming back to your work continually and to have a way to reintegrate into your work when you fall off course or fall off off of your consistency maybe. I just feel like the things that I struggled with before I started the pottery business, before starting this podcast, were these concepts like clarity, understanding the way I create and express myself, being able to come back and show up consistently in my work. And then also, there were many times that I would feel discouraged or just feel lost, and trying to come back to my work to start again and come back to where I left off, I found difficulty to do that. And so this quiz and these other tools that I'm going to talk about are meant to create this pathway and create this ability to come back and show up to your work consistently, authentically, with clarity, and to help give you direction. So, what's coming up then? This is the exciting part, because the quiz is step one. It's kind of the initiation into you finding out a little bit about your creative voice, a fun tool to start to learn about yourself. Then I've created the Creative Type Toolkit, would be like your second step or next step. This is a tool that is based around the creative type that you came to understand that you are through the quiz. And this is going to be a in-depth resource for your specific creative type that you can then apply the things that you've learned into your life and into your creative work. Then next week, I'm launching the Creative Spiral course, which will be then the next step that is to support and really create an invitation into momentum. This is more of a specific tool to help those creatives that you've maybe fallen off or you have maybe put off to work on a project, or you've taken a break for whatever reason, and now you want to come back and you're finding it difficult to come back to your work. So this course is going to help use that creative voice that you've come to understand about yourself and come back to your work and how you can do that. So each thing that I'm building is meant to walk beside you, to support, to kind of direct you in a way that will support the flow of coming back to your work, of understanding your voice, and have a little bit more clarity about how you're showing up. This isn't just a funnel. It's more of a framework or like an ecosystem of creative expression, creative acknowledgement for yourself. And something that truly I wish that I would have had, and I would have paid good money. I would have paid good money to have something like this in my past, because it is difficult to come back to your work sometimes and to be able to see clarity in where you're going with your creative work. So I just want to say, like, this isn't something new. You already know what kind of creative you are. I think most people that are creatives or artists know the type of creative that they are, but sometimes we just need these little reminders, and this quiz is meant to be that reminder to kind of show you, remember, this is who you are. This is the type of creative you are. This is your voice. This is your creative voice. So if this sounds like something you would like to explore further, the free quiz is now live, and the toolkit is also there for purchase. If you feel like you would like a little bit more info or more in-depth resource to the quiz, that'll be there. All the links are in the show notes. I'm just honestly so excited to be sharing these projects that I've been working really hard on with you. I just, have like truly enjoyed creating this. all aspects of creating the quiz and the toolkit and the mini course have just been so fun, and side projects, from my 9 to 5, like a different way to approach even my creativity in while I've been creating this has been so helpful. And like I was saying, like reminding me the type of creative that I am, and being like, yeah, this is who I am and how I want to share my work. So like you, I have been coming back to my creative work slowly and finding my voice and expression. And I think that that's so beautiful that we can share our work with each other and help to support and impact other creatives and other people that might be struggling or might need inspiration or might need that reminder, because I get inspired by other artists and creatives all the time. And I think it's just amazing that we can do that for each other, for society and our communities. Again, so grateful that I have this platform, this podcast, that I can be sharing my thoughts, these things that I'm creating, these creative tools that I'm creating. And I'm just so happy. I just hope that you will enjoy them and that you find that they do help you in some way. So thanks so much for listening, for being here, part of this journey, and hopefully enjoying these tools. And maybe you don't think that these tools are for you, and that's totally cool. But maybe you know someone that is needing some creative support and you think they might enjoy the quiz or any of these other tools that I'm sharing. Please share, please connect them to that, because it can be difficult sometimes. So share the tool, share the quiz with others. And I hope you all have an amazing day. Keep creating. We'll see you next week. Bye.